Hey guys, it's Trinity, and you're listening to Esoteric Truth Radio. I'm hoping that you had a chance to see any of the episodes that I put out today because this is kind of a continuation of one of them. There's something called the psychoid layer, and it just started making a comeback. It's a Jungian term, but people are just starting to talk about it now. I'm going to explain it the way that I like the way it sounds, and it's pretty much the physical and the mental and the magical. So at the end of one of my shows, because I think I did like three, at the end of one of my shows, I was trying to explain in my own little way how money doesn't mean anything. Today, Elon Musk became a trillionaire. There's no reason for someone to be a trillionaire. Let's make that clear. When somebody says, oh, that doesn't make any sense, they can have anything they want. Yes, they can. They can. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's no need for one person to hold that amount of wealth and not do anything productive with it. I'm not saying you got to run around and give it away. The reason why we think that way, when when I would say something like this and people just kind of pull back like, oh, how dare she say something like that? That's because you wish you had that money. Now think about it. If you shudder at the thought that somebody like me who happens to be poor is telling you trillionaires shouldn't exist, it's not because I'm telling you you shouldn't have money. Because in all actuality, most people will help other people. And things like that really get on my last fucking nerve. Because there's people out there, you know how many people out there that are content creators that are making millions of dollars? There's a guy I follow, his name is Liam, and he did a video today crying. He was crying. And he was like, oh, he was like, sometimes I help people. And I guess he had did a video and he helped someone financially who was, they did the video because they wanted to help. So now he's getting an influx of people that are sending him messages asking for help. And he's crying because he's saying, I can't help everybody. He was like, every person that I do help, there's like 100 people I can't help. He was like, so every single time I have to say no, he was like, it weighs on me. And I get that. That's a person who's trying to take what he has and he's trying to help. Then you have people like Musk, you have people like Trump, you have all of these people that just hoard this wealth. I wanted to kind of explain what that actually means because it's not financial wealth. In my other show, I was explaining that they don't have physical money. We don't have physical money. I mean, I have, okay, so we do have physical money, right? But they're removing what I think we already discontinued the penny. We're just going further, further, and further into electronic funds. We're not the only ones that are dealing in non physical money. The reason why they can get away with what they do is because their money is in stocks, it's papers, and they can trade and they can sell, and they can do all of these things, but they don't have physical money. So for years, like everything I did, all of my shows, all the research, all the people that I've talked to that are in this field, we all couldn't, I mean, even with all our brains pressed together, couldn't figure out what the money situation was. And today I was sitting here and I was like, it's something, I don't know what I'm missing. When I realized what it was, I didn't know how to articulate it, but I'm going to do my best. It's not physical money. It's our labor. It's us doing things for them. It's them giving us false hope and giving us little trinkets. It's like having a mistress or old school, having a prostitute. You know what I mean? We're like we're like the whores at this point, right? And then we got the top class guys that are paying for it, right? So they're giving this these little things, and we're taking it like, oh my god, I'm so thankful for this bracelet or this $500. You know what I mean? Or some drugs, whatever, right? But the amount of work you're doing for that person to make them happy and satisfied outweighs anything. There is no in between. There is nothing where you guys stand, toe to toe on give and take. It ain't 50-50 at all. It's you 99 and that person 1%. And that's why it's called the 1%, because that's how much they put back in. It's not just that there's only 1% of them. That's how much they put back in the pool. We got like the big money pool. That's the amount that they put in, and they get us to scavenge and fight each other for it. But it's not money. We work on money because we think that money is real. It's not real. It's not real. It's it's not like we didn't live in this world with no money. The planet, still, people still did things. They bartered, they traded, they communicated, they shared. Everybody did all of these things over time. And when somebody comes out and they have this beautiful little meme that says, "Why do I have to pay to live on the planet I was born on?" That's how bad it's gotten. So Musk did an interview. I'm going to say a couple of months ago, where he was saying we're about to hit a new phase in the next couple of years, right? Where electricity is going to be used as a weapon against us, and we already know that that's happening with the data centers. But soon enough, where they're going to be able to go into these spaces, and let's say it's a blue state. Let's say this is in California. They have a data center there, and let's say 28 polls around. Obviously, Cheeto's not in office. We're trying to put somebody else in there. We've already lost control of the narrative. The papers have already been signed. It doesn't matter if he's there. He doesn't have to be sitting, or I'm sorry, sleeping on TV in the White House for everything to continue after he's gone. Whether he goes, in a box or he goes in on a helicopter. Either way, this stuff is going to continue to go. And this is why the people that are sitting there using him like Weekend at Bernie's isn't saying anything. Because they know if they get him to do this and they get him to go all the way, even when he's not there, they will thrive. If it comes down to it, if we put these data centers in the places that they want to put them in, if we do not comply with whatever it is that they're talking about, all they have to do is shut the grid down. They're not just controlling the electric, they're controlling the water. There's a lot of shit that we don't have to live with. A lot. But food and water and electricity isn't any of those. And Musk have made that clear. He didn't just say it's an AI thing, that's a whole different show. But it's not just the AI thing. He was like the electricity, the water, the air quality, where you get to go, how you get to function. We already got your attention span. They said that after the year 2000, anybody born after the year 2000 has the attention span of about 8 seconds, which is less than a goldfish. We're already in the next phase. We're not going to the next phase. We're in the next phase. And all people have to do now is just pay attention to it. If you're made aware of the phase, you can do something about it. But you can't walk around blindly. So, how do we figure out exactly what these pieces of shits are doing? So, I'm going to read a little bit from an article from, hold on, because you guys, got to stick with me sometimes. And this is from the Bay Area Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. And they're explaining that the psychoid also has something to, well, the people that mostly do it and how we fall for it is called the two sides of narcissistic supply, right? So it's pretty much it's a love bombing, right? I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm going to do all of these things for you, blah blah blah, and then they slowly start taking things away. They call you every day at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then all of a sudden you miss a call. Then another time they're calling a little bit less, and you're not angry with them. Your body, and that's part of the psychoid layer, is when your mind and your body work as one. So when somebody breaks up with you or you lose a loved one, it physically hurts, like physical. When people are like, "Oh, you're a part of my heart." When you attach your heart and your brain like that, and we're all taught that, so it's not like we can not do it. But once you start realizing those two things don't work together, things become easier for you. But when you start telling yourself that these things are in unison constantly, then every time these people do these things, every time the world starts to change, every time something devastating starts to happen, we physically feel it. We're exhausted. Trump derangement syndrome is real. Trump fatigue is real. The only thing that's different is Trump derangement syndrome isn't people like me. It's MAGA. They have Trump derangement syndrome. We don't. We're just like, dude, like, just pay attention, man. Read a book. Look around. You guys are already in the fuck around and find out the phase. We've been there. We've been in that. So it's coming down to the point that we have to start getting ourselves away from it and start separating ourselves, realizing our own self worth, because they're not going to do it for us. It's just never going to happen that way. So it's projected as a false self. But it's because they give and they give and they give, and then you just get so used to it. And I know what that's like. I've had people like that in my life, and I'm sure I've probably been like that to somebody at some point. So in this article, it says, however, not all supply is created equal, and enter negative narcissistic supply. The darkest side of the narcissist supply involves provoking emotional reactions that include fear, anger, resentment, helplessness, shame, doubt, and insecurity. It can become a never ending cycle. It can become something that engulfs us in such a way that we can't get out. We're not getting paid money. We're not. This means absolutely nothing. If they control everything, there's nobody in these million or billionaires or trillionaires now. They're not just how you call it, like physically giving you things. I don't know how to explain it. So okay, so let's say you work at an Amazon factory, right? And you're getting paid, and then you take that money, and then you pay your rent, you pay your bills, you buy food, you take care of your family with that money. In your mind, that was an exchange, like a logical exchange. You did something in order to get something else. The part that we miss, or the part that we fight about, is that exchange, like I said earlier, with the 1% and the 99. So we give 99% of everything we have to do, and they give us one. If you know that Elon Musk is a trillionaire, in all honesty, write it in the comments. How much do you think his employee should make? Honestly. Because I know that if I was making $1 billion a year, I would not be paying my workers $7.75, which is the minimum wage in most states in this country. I know that I wouldn't do that. So if you think that Elon Musk earned his way to a trillion, he don't have a trillion workers, how much do you think all of his employees should get? If it's not about them love bombing, if it's not about them breaking us down and making us fight for crumbs, if we would add that money up, there would be 10,000 times more billionaires. If everybody did it fair. That's the whole point. We don't live in a place where it's fair. So they get us to fight amongst each other for the crumbs, and then we build their houses, and we build their fucking toilets, and we clean their beds, and we deal with their bullshit, and we cook their food, and we raise their kids, and we do everything. You got to take it in. You have to think of it in that sense. It's not money. It's not. They're giving us the tiniest things. If you think about it this way, just in case you're still on the fence, stay with me. What if people like him just gave us shit pay, right? And just made all of the products less, right? Second richest man on the planet owns Coca Cola. He can afford to make Coca Cola products for 50 cents. If he so chose, he could do that. Anything Coca Cola related. They don't just make soda. He could take that and say, shit, it's getting real tight. Here, let me lower down that process. Do you think he can do that anytime he wants to? Anybody who has big business. And that's a fucking Zuckerberg, and that's fucking Bezos. That's all of them. If you're thinking in your head that they have every right to be in the financial bracket that they're in, do you think that it would just be fair if they paid accordingly? And if they couldn't do that, even if you're on the side of them not paying their fair share, do you think it would be the next logical step for them to just lower down the prices of everything? Give me $7.75 an hour. Let me go to the fucking supermarket and spend like it's the 1970s. if you want to give me less money, you do have the fucking chance to actually lower down the products that are actually being sold on the planet. You can make things so cheap. We would still work if it's not about our physical labor. Let us work, same shifts, same hours, same jobs. Give us $7.75. I mean, put that shit flat on the board and then just make everything cheap. If it's about money and not about labor, that should be done in 1 second. The whole world would change. Nobody would be starving. Nobody would be out on their ass. Doctors would be cheaper. Medicine would be cheaper. Everybody that's hoarding, they're hoarding us. They're not hoarding physical cash. They're not giving you things so you could live a better life. And the harder you work, the more you give them. It's like when you go to school. The higher your grades isn't because you're reading better or you're doing math better. It's because you're memorizing things more and you're able to regurgitate them the same way. I always thought it was odd that people were like, "Oh, I learned that in school." Have you met a teacher? A teacher goes every single year and repeats the same thing every year. The students don't change. Very rarely does the information change. They're still using books that are 30 and 40 years old. We're not learning anything new. Everything remains the same. The better you are at repetition, the better you are in life. If this stays in the same way, we're never going to get out of it. Not at all. There was one more piece of an article I wanted to read for you. And of course, I can't find it. Okay. So, when I was trying to figure out, because I was trying to figure out what would be the basic name for somebody who just has that transaction, right? I already used prostitute, and but it's pretty much narcissist, right? So it's saying pretty much. So there's exploitation, instrument. Well, anyway, exploitation, which we already know. So it's pretty much treating you like, the way they're doing it right now. I'm trying. My brain's trying to get it all together. And then we got the narcissistic supply, which I already told you, right? They give and they give and they give. You start taking that shit on a personal level. And then when, you lose your job and you're crying, we take the same things. Do you know that we're not supposed to cry during movies? We're not supposed to have, sorry, my mic fell. We're not supposed to have that kind of an attachment. I found that out like 10 years ago. And now I try not to cry. I was watching this video just a little while ago. There was a guy, a news anchor on ABC News in New York, and today was his last day because he found out he's in the early stages of Alzheimer's. And I watched, it was like a 6 minute video, and I'm tearing up, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so sad. And I'm like, I don't know that man physically. I never met him, and I get it. They're in our faces. But a screen is still not any way to really be close to anybody. You know what I mean? That's why we have what's called long term, not long term. What is that called? When we have a relationship but we're not physically together. If we don't count that as real, then none of the other stuff is real. Further from real. I don't think that I love Denzel Washington. I see him on in movies on TV. I don't think we're dating. You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh, we're in the I can't remember what it's called. Shit. Anyway, a relationship where he just lives really, really far away. I don't think that because we could do that with everybody. If you listen to my show at 10 times at least, then you would be able to think that we were dating. Then you'd be like, yeah, she's my girlfriend. I talk to her all the time. It's like that's not how it works. We are so emotionally involved. The psychoid level is an explanation on how they have taught us not to be able to disconnect. So the reason why we're tired and the reason why we're sick and the reason why we're doing drugs and the reason why we're drinking and we're fighting and we're violent, it's all because everything that they do, we connect with our physical forms. We actually take all of that in and we weigh it down on ourselves. You could take a regular person in great health, put their life through shit, and watch them wind up physically ill. And if we don't get out of that, then everything's always going to be the same. We can't get out. Right now, everything is just going to get a little bit worse. We got a couple of months. It's supposed to be like right after, what is that called? Right after the 4th of July. The prices are supposed to hit from the big, disgusting bill. It hasn't hit yet. So things are about to get crazy. I went online today. I was about to order some food because I get my food delivered. I was going to order some stuff. And I usually, when you shop, there'll be like a list and they'll be like, do you want to get the same products? And I went through the list, and every single thing that I bought last month went up to from $1 to $2 up than last month. Everything. I did not see one thing that had the same price. And when you go shopping like that, it'll have a color, like the amount will be blue, and all of them were black. They all changed. And I was like, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Do you think that that's going to make me feel better? No. Do you think I'm all excited and jumping up and down and my life is happy now? No. Now I'm pissed. Now I'm absolutely pissed. And that's the way that they get us. It's not money. When I said on my show a couple of days ago that we have to get past this nonsense where we're just protesting or we're doing these temporary things, they don't care. And that if we have to shut down, then it's just going to have to get done. And I'm the first one to volunteer that shit. Absolutely. Absolutely. I do not say anything I'm not willing to do, and I don't tell you stuff unless I actually been through it. And if you have to make things tight, you have to make things tight. Every generation that grows up when they're young and their family had struggled, because we've done this a billion times. Every single time that happened, we had stronger generations. When we had the depression, they wound up growing up with stories about how they needed to stretch, food and stay family oriented and save up money and think for the long term because they lived through a tough time. And we forgot how that is. We forgot that sometimes these things have to happen. They've always happened this way. But everybody's so emotional and everybody's so tired. And every kid from the age of 3 and up has a $500 phone and they can't get off that. The more we keep getting into that, or we don't just buckle down and say, fuck it, this is just going to have to be tough, they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. Right now, they're taking down the stupid letters of Cheeto's name. It shouldn't have been up. There was a complaint today by the FAA from two pilots that were flying a plane into Washington, and the lights from that stupid thing for the USC caused them difficulty in landing the plane. And they had to put like some safety complaint. They were like, "We can't have that in the sky." I didn't think it had to be told that way, but imagine what would happen had they gotten into an accident. And we would have had to explain that we let this dude put up an octagon type thing in the front lawn of the White House with bright lights. Like this is a fucking circus. Oh my god. Tell me you heard about the the dude from Texas. The guy in the wheelchair. I don't know his name. Anyway, he thought he was doing a little rally. He thought that it would be cute to bring an elephant to one of his rallies. The elephant peed everywhere. All the videos that are circulating is this giant elephant peeing right in front of everybody. Like just, and they don't pee a little bit. It's not like a little kid. It's like a 3, 4 gallons worth of piss. And everybody's like, why did you bring an elephant here? We're living in the weirdest time ever. Listen, I love you guys. Okay? I do. You're my people. We got to fix this. How are we going to fix it? I don't know. And I'm very, very, very hypocritical at this moment by saying that I love you and expecting you guys to take it that way. After I just explained we don't know each other or we don't know other people and we can't be emotional. I mean it in a way that I feel like we're on, or I'm having a conversation with somebody who understands. And I do. If people accidentally get my information, that's great. If they don't, that's great too. I've been around for a long time. And sometimes I get it to my feels. It's okay. Sometimes I need a huge break, and that's okay too. But I'm telling you that we're only a couple of days away from this fucking monstrosity of nonsense. And then by the end, at least by the beginning of August or mid August, things are going to get really bad. And I'd rather have this conversation with you now. This is my the birds and the bees conversation. This is it. If everything went up in less than 30 days, I'm talking about huge amounts. There was a thing today where a barbecue owner in Texas, had to shut his business down. So he went on the local news, and they were like, "So what happened?" He's like, "Listen," he was pissed. He's like, "Listen," he was like, "I would sell a brisket sandwich last year, and that because you have to add everything up. Anyway, he was like, per sandwich, my physical giving money in order to create the sandwich was 29 cents. 29. First of all, that's ridiculous. 29 cents for a brisket sandwich. Like he must have been getting hella deals. Anyway, and he was like, I have to close. He was like, nobody wants to come here. He said, do you know how much per sandwich now I have to pay out of pocket? He was like $6. And even I was like, I didn't hear that right. I rewound it. I was like, there's no way it went from 20 something cents to $6. That's not a small amount. That's fucking huge. Now we have nobody from the World Cup coming down here. Everything is just getting worse. We got to be able, if listen, if they're already causing you migraines, they're causing you not to be able to sleep, they're causing you to be hungry, they're causing you to be sick and not be able to pay for anything, then we can go through the same shit and make them pay at the exact same time. If we're sacrificing now and we're not getting anything, then what is the problem with sacrificing and actually be worth something? If it's going to be long-term pain or short-term pain or whatever this Cheeto wants to say, why can't we do it the same way? Right? We want to live in the world with eye to eye, then let's do that. This turn the other cheek bullshit has got to come to an end at some point. Okay, I'm going to end it here. I'll do a couple of shows this week. I'm glad that you're here and you took the time to listen in. Of course, this is Trinity. We're cool. This is Esoteric Truth Radio. I don't know what else to tell you guys. Go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know how you're preparing. Let me know if you're going to be watching this UFC thing. Just let's see what we got to do. I think if we talk about it, I think that if we have a discussion with people that are facing the same kind of issues, that we come up with solutions a lot better. All right, guys. I will see you later. It's 9 p.m. Central. And this is Trinity, SSR Truth Radio. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.